Hi, I'm Salena, wellness coach, self-care alchemist, and the founder of Salyana Essentials. When I released the very first episode of the Burnout Diaries on June 5th, 2025, I told a short story about the morning everything shifted. When I sat in my car, unable to make myself walk into work, but something about that original version felt unfinished. Because the truth is, it barely scratched the surface. I was protecting myself, brushing over the feelings, the physical toll, the sacred unraveling. So, this is the extended version of episode 1. It's the real version because I no longer want to touch the truth. I want to tell it fully. And if you're here, I think you're ready for that too. It was a weekday. I had dropped my daughter off at school, grabbed coffee that I didn't want, and I pulled into a parking spot I had always used at work. Routine, predictable, automatic. But this morning, something was really different. I sat there with my hands on the steering wheel and I couldn't make myself move. My chest was tight. My stomach felt so hollow. I watched people walking into the building like robots in a loop. And all I could think was, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. The truth is, I had seen this coming. I had seen these moments coming because I was exhausted all the time. And it was the kind of exhaustion, the being tired that it didn't matter how much sleep I got. It's like I would still wake up tired. And I continued showing up for everyone, being the manager, the friend, the mother, the fixer. But I disappeared from my own life. I smiled out of habit. I laughed on cue. And inside, I was feeling so hollow. I didn't walk into the work that day. In fact, from my car, I called my manager and said that I wouldn't be able to come in. And I didn't go home. I turned the key. I pulled out of that parking lot and I started driving. I didn't have a destination in mind. I just was in motion. And I got tired of performing. I didn't want to perform that day. I didn't want to be seen. And eventually I found myself at a park I hadn't been in years. I parked, I walked out onto the grass and I sat down right there in my work clothes. I kicked off my shoes and I just pressed my feet into the ground. And I just breathed. And I could feel the sun warming my face. And it was a soft breeze kind of brushing along my skin. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something other than pressure. I really felt alive. And I remember thinking, is this what being human feels like? Not rushing, not proving, not sacrificing yourself for the next deliverable, just breathing, belonging, being. And I let myself sit there with no goal. I listened to the leaves rustle overhead. There was the occasional bird chirping, and in the far distance, I can hear children laughing. And the earth, it didn't need anything from me. And that gave me permission to need nothing from myself, at least for a little while. If you're feeling disconnected from your own life, my invitation to you, it really is not like a grand gesture or an expensive getaway. It's this: step outside, literally find a patch of grass, a park, your porch, the sidewalk, take off your shoes and let the soles of your feet touch the earth. Feel the breeze, the sunlight, the realness of the world that's around you, and let the outside world hold you when the inside one feels like it's too much. It's not escaping your life. It's It's about remembering that you have a life and that it includes being still. In that same way, that the same way that I felt that realness and I felt that stillness at the park, I started to incorporate small practices. And so for me back then, it wasn't about having a product line because I didn't have it then. I just had intuition and I just had stuff around the house. And so what I did was I took a few drops of jojoba oil and grapeseed oil and I put it into a little jar. And I added some rose petals because I love flowers and I keep roses at the house. So I took a few of those rose petals and I put it into the jar of the oil. And I splashed in a little vanilla essential oil and I added a few drops of vitamin C. And it wasn't fancy. It was by far from fancy. But I would just add a few drops into the palm of my hands and I would warm it up. And I just rub my chest and rub my shoulders and my heart space. Every night I made that into a routine that I would do. And I did this in silence. And the scent of the oils with the rose petals, it was so gentle, it was sweet, it was floral, and it was soft. And it reminded me of the joy I hadn't felt in years. It reminded me that I still deserve joy. Each night, that ritual, it became like a quiet way to say, I'm still here. I still matter and my body deserves kindness. And later that blend, it became the inspiration for what I now call happy heart oil. But in that season, it was just my way of remembering how to feel again. And if you've forgotten how to be human, I know what it's like to sit in your car and forget how to move. I know what it's like to live on autopilot until your body finally says enough. But I also know that becoming the stillness, coming back to yourself is possible. Even if it takes time, even if it's messy, even if it starts with nothing more than just your bare feet in the grass and a few drops of oil on your skin. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to feel. You're allowed to come home to yourself, one breath at a time. And if this story resonated, I love for you to stay on this journey with me. Subscribe to the Burnout Diaries for weekly episodes rooted in truth, healing, and return. Share this video with a friend who's been carrying too much for too long and learn about the Radiant Roots Retreat, a space that's created for women like us to finally exhale. And you don't need to earn rest. You're not broken. You're just ready to come home. And I'm so grateful we're walking this path together.